You're being a pest. Prada's being a pest. I just want that to go out on national news. Yes, you, young lady. Okay. All righty. Well, here we are. It's Tuesday, and Trinity is doing First Corinthians live at 9:45-ish. Okay, so we got a little bit of time. Daily text. Tuesday the 14th, Psalm 41:1. Happy are those who consider the poor. The Lord delivers them in the day of trouble. Matthew 5:7. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Merciful God, be gracious to me and heal me. I cheapen myself when I fail to share your mercy and refuse to see the mercy others give to me. When I lose myself in thoughts of scarcity and distrust, I easily turn strangers into enemies. Help me to be with impoverished ones today as we share in your abundance. Amen. And there's a lot of different ways to be impoverished. So, all righty. By way of announcements, if you're signing up for Crossways, we are figuring out a way to make YouTube videos and put it online because Sola Publishing wants some examples. Haha. So we're going to be working that out. If we're probably, well, it looks like we have to finish up the 7 marks of the church. We have 3 more weeks of that. So it's going to be the first Wednesday in October that we get started. So you have about a week to make up your mind before we have to order books. So just kind of keep that in mind. And anyway, trying to think if there's anything going on. Wednesday night, we're going to meet at 6:30 for dinner and then class at 7. So, all righty. So, the chronological Bible, and we're kind of moving into bits that I've done before, but it's okay. So actually, today's reading is going to set the stage for the interaction between the chronological stuff and the historical stuff. Okay, so for April 7th, in the 1-year chronological Bible, it says Naomi, Ruth, and Boaz lived late in the period of the Judges. So this puts it in context. All right, this would be kind of post Gideon, depending on how you're looking at this. It could have been during maybe Samson. Could have been around the time of the idolatry in the tribe of Dan, the war with Benjamin, the Levite and his concubine thing from the end of Judges, or it could have been Samson-ish. All right. So anyway, putting that context and filter over the book of Ruth, it should kind of give you a less secure feeling about what was going on. All right. In other words, Ruth comes off as kind of pastoral. It's this great story of, love of family, romantic love of God, and all that. But this was really taking place during a time period, excuse me, where Israel was not behaving very well. And so this is like this bright spot. Okay. These people are not reacting and interacting like the rest of society, the country, the surrounding nationals. I mean, it should kind of color how you're reading this. So Elimelech moves his family to Moab, not just because of the famine then, okay, but because Moab may have been more stable than Israel, okay, because basically Moab at this time really wasn't fighting with anybody. They didn't like the Israelites, which kind of makes Elimelech's choice a little bizarre. But compared to Israel in constant battle with the Philistines and with each other, because we have pretty much a civil war going on and the Philistine occupation and threats, and then a famine, you can kind of see where Elimelech wanted to get his family out of there. So, and it may have been that the Moabite women were a little bit more refined than the Israelite women because of some things that are kind of alluded to in the book of Ruth about Israelite society. The girls that went to glean the field had a bad reputation. All right. I'm trying to be kind here. And the guys that were working in the fields apparently didn't have a whole lot of morals. So, you can kind of see this breakdown of societal structure thing. So, you can kind of see where Elimelech wanted his family out of there for a lot of different reasons. So, and this was unusual that Ruth would have been a little more sophisticated than your average Israelite woman. Okay. I'm going to assume that. I'm going to speculate with that because she's a pretty savvy lady. All right. So what you're getting then is Naomi and Ruth do this out of character thing because Orpah was actually doing the moral and ethical thing by going back to her family. Ruth was acting very much out of societal expectations and norm. That's what makes this so impressive, if you will. Ruth is a woman of high character, and she's really going against a lot of societal and cultural norms. All right. So already she's displaying early on, much earlier in the book than most people realize, a deep faith and commitment. Okay. So whether she's honoring Naomi or she's honoring, her dead husband, or she's just sick to death of living in Moab, either way, she comes across as kind of almost a Mary figure. All right. Very virtuous, doing the Lord's will. And ends up being in the lineage of Jesus. Okay. Jesse is Ruth's grandson. Okay. So David would have grown up hearing these stories about this foreign woman that not only embraced society and culture, but took care of her mother-in-law, who, in the societal structure would have adopted her. Okay. And this great romance between his great grandparents. Okay. So Jesse. So they had Obed. Anyway, I'll work it out, but I think it's Obed, Jesse, David. Okay. So Ruth would have been David's great grandmother. All right. But, I mean, this is an oral story written down, and it's a family folktale. Okay. But it also is a lesson in what it means to follow God and behave in the way a believer should. Okay. And it's interesting because God doesn't deal with anything directly. This is more like our society and our encounters with God, where we're not getting direct revelation. It's societal people being moved by the Spirit of God, who is in the background moving things where they should be. Very, very important. Okay. So we're going to finish with Ruth and get into, because now we're going to start to see the interplay between the Chronicles, all right, the historical record, and the historical books themselves. So we're going to start seeing the chronological part. I know it took a while. I'm sorry, but it's coming, and that's pretty exciting. It's a very interesting and unique way of looking at how the Bible and its timeline. Okay. All right. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Have a great day, everybody.